Hello, and welcome to Careers Beyond Motherhood Live. Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 important lessons that you can learn from your children. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Janine Esbrand, and I'm the founder of Lightbox Coaching, where I help women to build careers that they love whilst raising a family. So, I want to talk about today because of something that happened with my son the other day. So, he was doing something and he was getting a bit frustrated with it, and that often happens. He's 3, so he's trying to do something, he gets frustrated and then wants to throw the toy across the room. And so I told him to calm down, that he should calm down, and I said, I know this is a hard thing, but you can do hard things, so it's okay, you can do this. So I said that to him once, and then a few days later we were out and he was riding his balance bike, and we came to the curb. And I told him to slow down because that's a big curb, so it's going to be hard for him to go down. And his response was, Mummy, I can do hard things. And I was just taken aback by the fact that he had really taken in what I had said, and then he applies it in context. Hi, Sharita. He applied it in context. So, type 1 in the comments if you are often floored by your children and the fact that they come up with the way that they come up with things and the way that their logic works. It amazes me on a day-to-day basis. So when he said that, I then started thinking there's so much that we can learn from our children. And so today I want to share with you 3 important lessons that we can learn as women, as mothers, as working mothers from our children. So number 1 is to try new things. So if you've ever seen a baby, so my daughter is 1 in a few weeks, so she's now in the stage where she's learning to walk and she's learning to climb. And if you've ever watched them, how determined they are when they want to do something. So she's not yet a confident walker, but she keeps trying and she keeps trying. And I saw her the other day climb into her, the little walkers that they have where they sit in them and they can walk around. She climbed into it, so she tried for ages to get her leg up. And I just watched her, and then she got her leg up, and then she managed to get her whole self in, and she turned herself around and she sat down, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. She was just so determined. And so that's one lesson we can learn, to be determined regardless of the setbacks, regardless of the knockbacks. So for you, you might be saying, I want to move into a new area in my career, I want to get back into work, or I want to completely do something different, but you're fearful. You worry about failing, you don't really want to put yourself out there, and so you don't do it. So I want to encourage you to just go for it. Keep trying, try new things. You can volunteer, you can test things out, you just give it a go. If you don't give it a go, you're never going to know whether or not it's going to work. You're never going to know whether it's for you. So I want you to follow what children do. They just try. They don't care if people laugh at them. They don't care if it doesn't work out. They're just going to try because they're focused on getting to where it is they want to get to. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to move on quickly. So if you do try and if you do fail, I want you to move on quickly. Have you ever been in a situation where your toddler is crying, just having a meltdown, like absolutely throwing their toys out of the pram and just crying, and then you ask them something and distract them and say, do you want this? And then they just switch. So they were like really crying, really passionate. My son does this all the time, really, really crying. And then you ask him a question and then he's like, yeah. And then he just switches and then he's actually fine. And you say, do you want to play with this car? Yeah, I want to play with the car. Because their ability to just be focused on one thing and just forget it and move on to another thing is amazing. And so us as adults, we tend to learn to hold on to things. If you make a mistake, if you feel bad about something, we beat ourselves up on it. We talk about it too much. We focus on it too much. And so I want to encourage you to let it go. And for mums, it often shows up as well. Like if you say you were picking up your child and you forgot to bring something, and you pick them up and they're upset because you forgot to bring a certain outfit because it was a special day at school or at nursery, we can beat ourselves up and say, how could I have forgotten that? That's so terrible. And so I just want to encourage you to just move on. It's happened. You can't change it. If you can't change it, there's no point dwelling on it. Learn from the mistake, yes, but don't dwell on it. Don't stay there. Just move on. So that's the second point. And the third one is to learn to say no. So I think I've mentioned this before, but toddlers and babies have an amazing way of just saying no to everything all the time, and they don't care. They just say no, ask them to do something, no, I can't do it. And for us as adults, I want us to take that on board, because it's not good to say no to everything all the time, of course. But sometimes we say yes too much. Sometimes we say yes to too much, so that we have so much on our plate that we can't focus on the right things. We get overwhelmed, we get stressed, we get to a place where we feel like we can't do anything. So I want us to move away from just saying yes immediately, to actually assessing whether or not you have the capacity to do this thing, or if you want to do this thing at this time. And so just take that lesson from the toddler and learn to say no more often. And ultimately, the people that you say no to, they're not they understand if you explain why you're saying no, or that you just can't do it at this time. People are understanding, but we sometimes put on ourselves too much pressure to say yes all the time. So I want to encourage you to say no more. So to recap, the first thing is to try new things, like my 1-year-old who wants to climb. Just try, put yourself out there, try new things, new job, new area, new hobby, whatever it is, just give it a try. The second one is to move on quickly. Don't dwell on mistakes, don't dwell on things that haven't gone so well, just keep it moving. And the third one is to say no more often, so that you're creating space for the things that are important, instead of just saying yes to everything because you think you should. So those are my three tips, the lessons that you can learn from your children. And that's all I have for you. I would love for you to come over and hang out with me in my private Facebook group, the Careers Beyond Motherhood community, so that you can hear more from me, from other members, connect with like-minded ladies who are building careers that they love whilst raising families. So yeah, come on over while we're still accepting new members. I will share a link in the description, sorry, not the description, in the comments box, and I hope to see you there. And yeah, just type in the comments below if you could, if this resonates with you. If you have a toddler or a baby who you are learning lessons from, type yes in the comments. All right, that's all. I'm going now. Bye. Bye, Shrita.